evening and welcome to the May 18th, 2017 edition of FRCMedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Tonight we check out some of the details of the proposed fiscal year 2018 city budget. We provide an update on a public safety-oriented CDA grant and look ahead to Memorial Day activities planned in Fall River. But let's check out the news headlines of the week. Let's bring in Will Richmond, the digital news editor at the Fall River Herald News. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How are you doing?
Good. Enjoying this summertime weather. Again, it seems like every year we go from winter to summer. We just skip over spring. And at least this week, it has been a very warm few days here in Fall River. Let's get right to it. Let's start with the election season. We will talk about this for quite some time between now and November when the election is held, but it's a time where candidates are making their statements, at least in terms of going to the election office at Government Center and taking out papers, nomination papers for the election. And some heavy hitters came out this week in the race for mayor. City Council Vice President Linda Pereira, someone who over the years has been rumored to see if she'd be interested in running for mayor, did in fact take out nomination papers for mayor. And then a few hours after that, Mayor Correa officially took out his nomination papers for re-election to the office of mayor. From what you hear, is it something that, in terms of Councilor Pereira, we all hear rumors about these types of people and if they're going to run or not. Was it something you had heard? And obviously, she's looking to take that next step.
Yeah, there'd been some long sort of running rumors of Councilor Pereira's interest in running for mayor, and I think that certainly ramped up additionally as the talk of FBI investigations and that sort of thing started to become more and more public. And I'm sure there were groups and possibly on the business side that sort of related to FROED that were looking for a candidate to back in opposition to Jazel Correa. So I wouldn't be shocked if there was some influence in that role and getting her involved, or at least in that sort of interest group looking for that type of candidate that they could get behind and feel might have a shot against the incumbent mayor.
As those of you who've been following this know, another current city councilor, Richard Cabaceres, has also taken out nomination papers to run for mayor. As has, I believe, there are 3 other candidates at this point, potential candidates that have taken out papers. Is that correct? Are we up to 6 for mayor? Lose track.
I believe we are up to 6 that have officially taken out papers. Some of them are some of the perennial type of candidates who don't tend to fare too well, but the number is up there, and it looks like we will certainly have a primary race for mayor at the very least.
I know it's interesting. This time of year we tend to see when the nomination papers are available in April, the end of April. We see a good influx of candidates come in and get papers right away. They want to get their name out there, and especially those who may be challengers want to get their name out and get their name recognition boosted before the preliminary or even the final election. And then I guess this time of year, May into June, there's a little bit of lull, and then do we normally see again an uptick as we get toward the end of the time where people can take out papers, which is late July rather?
Yeah, so certainly there is a pretty wide range here for paper availability. I believe 2 years ago, Jazel Correa took papers out in mid-June. So, candidates can kind of pop in at any time and make their decisions known publicly. Who else may run at this point? We'll certainly have to wait and see. I can't imagine there'd be much more interest from amongst the sit-in city councilor members. So if anyone else were to run, I would think it would be at least of significant name recognition. It'd be someone who's not affiliated with an elected position at this point.
Right. I got to ask you, how often do you have a reporter pop by the elections office to check out the latest list?
We generally check it on Fridays, usually at the end of the day, every Friday. Right. But, our reporter, if they're in Government Center, will pop in and just say, anyone we should know about or anything like that as well. So
we will see as we go forward. All right. I want to switch now to the City Council. A couple events on the City Council calendar for this week. There was a proposal by a number of city councilors. Actually, a resolution was sponsored by Council President Kadim and Councilor Pamela Liberty LeBeau to use some of the funds that has been set aside for Mayor Correa's streetscape program to go toward the fixing of current potholes and current sidewalks across the city. First of all, Will, can the City Council do that? They approved the streetscapes program. Can they actually determine now, after the approval of streetscapes, that they can move money to other purposes?
I believe so. The City Council does have a fiscal responsibility when it comes to the city. So, the allocation of money for projects could fall within that. I tend to think back to the bond that was used or supposed to be used for certain upgrades at Government Center, including security issues in the Treasurer's office and the building of a handicapped bathroom on the first floor. And then we saw that money go to use for upgrades in the mayor's bathroom and the hallway on the 6th floor and specialized doors and that kind of thing. So, what money may be voted on in a bond may not where it is ultimately used in the end. And I think in this case, at the very least, there's a feeling that streetscapes and road repairs are, while not exactly the same, there is some similarities there in usage. So it's not quite as egregious as that previous example I talked about.
Right. Could be close enough. Anyway, the council actually put off a final vote on this based on, I believe, was it an amendment by one of the councilors to actually earmark a specific amount of money for this?
Yeah, I think there was some discussion about, I believe it was either $7 or $8 million to be set aside specifically for road work and instead of the streetscapes process. It was also mentioned that with the elimination of trash services being run by the city, that part of that promise was supposed to come with it the availability of more DPW employees to handle these kinds of work projects, such as filling potholes. So there will be further discussion on this going forward at future council meetings.
And finally, also on the City Council this week, we've talked a lot about on this program, and you have as well at the Herald, about the Fall River Charter Commission. Of course, it was set up 2 years ago in the last election. It's doing its work. It will have a proposal on potential charter changes to be voted on by the electorate in November. But City Councilor Steve Camara this week went to the council floor and said, well, let's put together an alternative proposal, a proposal that he has come up with. When's the first we heard about this before the meeting on Tuesday, and the council voted it down by a sizable vote to reject Councilor Camara's proposal. But it seems like it just came out of the blue and wasn't really part of any of the discussions at the Charter Commission.
Yeah, certainly the Charter Commission has been meeting for 18 plus months at this point, I believe. And from our reporting, Councilor Camara had not approached the Charter Commission with his ideas until just this past Monday when they were holding a public hearing on their proposal. So I think this caught the Charter Commission by surprise. Councilor Camara presented it to the city council Tuesday night, as you mentioned. They voted it down, but from my understanding, the first that it may have become public record was when the agenda was sent out with the background information to the councilors on Friday afternoon. So kind of came out of nowhere despite the ongoing work of the Charter Commission.
All right, something again we will follow with the Charter Commission later on this summer and fall. All right, Will, what's coming up over the next few days?
Sure. This weekend, we actually are kicking off our newest project, How We Work. This is going to take a look at sort of a lot of employment issues in the Fall River area, things such as, profiles of people who are looking for work. How do unemployment numbers work? Are things like TIFs, have they been a good thing for the city? So really, we're trying to kind of dig deep and answer some of the questions around employment and job creation here in the greater Fall River.
Sounds great. All right, Will, we'll talk again next week. Take care.
All right, have a good weekend, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Bilingual staffing specialist, The Monroe Group, located at 203 Plymouth Avenue, is in need of a full-time bilingual staffing specialist, fluent in English and Spanish, to provide translation services while sourcing, interviewing, networking, and selecting qualified candidates to work for Monroe Staffing Services. Job number 8970390. Wastewater operator. Veolia North America, located at 1979 Bay Street, is seeking a full-time wastewater operator to operate and maintain wastewater treatment, processing, disposal, and testing equipment in their water and wastewater treatment facility, purifying water to meet operational requirements. Job number 8970349. X-ray certified dental assistant. Dental Dreams, located at 45 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, is looking for a full-time X-ray certified dental assistant to make and process X-rays and provide chairside assistance to the dentist during dental exams. Job number 8970148. The state of Massachusetts is looking to fulfill the following full and part-time positions. DCF Unit Supervisor, job number 8922636. Conservation and Recreation Field Operations Leader, job number 8966919. Mental Health Worker, job number 8962597. Recreation Facility Supervisor, job number 8886666. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCMediaNews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The Fall River City Council received the fiscal year 2018 budget submitted by Mayor Jazio Correa at its meeting this week. The spending plan, set for nearly $280.5 million, is once again a zero-based budget and looks to provide an increase for the school department above minimum net school spending requirements by the state. Each year, the budget is given to the full council on or before June 1st, with approval expected by the end of the month. FRC Media News had previously asked City Councilor Richard Cabaceres if the approximately 6-week time period is enough for the council to review the numbers.
I think the budget is an intense document, and the more time that we have with it, the better off we'll be. But I also understand the other side, where we have to wait for information from the state in order to be able to make some of these decisions. I do think that the budget should be submitted, at least a rough budget should be submitted to the council early, so that way they can start getting used to seeing what's potentially going to be happening in the upcoming budget. So it just requires more open dialogue between the administration and the council, and that just takes good leadership.
The Fall River Community Development Agency has received a number of grants in the latest round of funding this spring. According to Executive Director Michael Dion, one of them is a shot in the arm for the fire department.
We're replacing right now, actually replacing most of the fire equipment for the fire department. We've secured a Section 108 loan for about $5 million. We just went out for bid for a new rescue truck, a new platform truck, and 2 new pumpers, a brand new Yukon, which is car 3. We're going to be going out for bid for 2 or 3 washers and dryers that are going to be installed in 3 of the fire stations. In another year, we're going out for a new aerial scope. So we got a lot of stuff that's going on.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
So I have with me here Abby and Bella. Abby and Bella, they're both, as you can see, Shih Tzus. They're about 5 years old or so. They need a good bath right now, but they are pretty, all the same. They came here as owner surrenders. Their previous owner, they couldn't take care of them anymore. Mostly they just like being with people. Ideally, it would be best if they went together, since they've been living together most of their lives. If you want to come down and see both or one of them, we're at 300 Linwood Street here in Fall River, Massachusetts. That's Forever Paws.
We have Jane here. Jane has been with us since April 5th, and she's a little older, she's 10, but she's full of life and spirit, and she's an absolute love bug. And she does need a home, so she can fit in anywhere pretty much. So if you're interested, come on down to 300 Linwood Street in Fall River. In Massachusetts, we're called Forever Paws.
Memorial Day will be celebrated in Fall River beginning May 26th with opening ceremonies planned at Oak Grove Cemetery. Before that event, though, the old flags placed on veterans' graves last year will be replaced with new ones. Volunteers will gather at 9 a.m. this Saturday morning at various cemeteries across the city to do that job. Director of Flags and Graves Victor Farias explains that once the old flags are removed, they are gathered together and burned. FRCMedia News asked why.
Well, because it's the proper way to do it, to retire the flag. So a flag that's ripped, stripped, that it's outlived its life. We cut the strips up, and then we cut a pattern. We put a big pit of fire and throw it in there, or sometimes we fold it and look like 3 stars, and it's a big ceremony. It's retiring a flag. It's like burying the flag. So that's how we bury the flag, by burning it. You can bury it, but it has to be folded like you would fold it for a funeral, put it in the case and put it in the ground.
In addition, the flag that rests on the pole at Oak Grove Cemetery near the Civil War Monument will also be retired.
This flag here on the pole will be lowered, and then we'll have a new one that's going to go up in its place. We'll retire, we'll fold the flag, we'll bring it inside the shed. And then later on, that flag that comes down here will go down to the front of the other entrance, and we'll fly where Officer McGann's flag is. So it does 2 purposes at once.
That'll do it for this edition of FRCMedia News. You can watch FRCMedia News Thursday and Friday at 6 p.m. and online on our news website 24/7, frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRCMedia News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.